Did you know you're carrying an invisible backpack everywhere you go? No, it's not the one for work, the gym, or errands. It's much heavier. This backpack isn't filled with items you can see or touch. It's crammed full of resentments, fears, guilt, and unresolved emotions. All the things you've chosen, consciously or not, to carry on your back. And the worst part, you probably don't even notice how much it weighs you down. Picture this. Every time someone betrays you, every time you fail, every time you regret something you said or didn't say, you add a stone to that backpack. You don't realize how quickly it fills up. Maybe it's the anger from a friend's hurtful words, or the shame from a mistake you still haven't forgiven yourself for. One by one, those small stones become a heavy burden. You trudge through life slower, breathing harder, and you don't even know why. It's like walking uphill with your legs shaking, but you keep telling yourself, I can handle it. Here's the truth. You can't carry everything. You're not supposed to. Life isn't meant to be an endless struggle of dragging the past along with you. The Stoics, those ancient thinkers who mastered the art of living well, understood this better than anyone. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The weight of your backpack doesn't come from what's inside. It comes from your choice to carry it. What if you could take it off? What if, instead of holding on to resentment or fear, you decided to let it go? Imagine how light you would feel. You'd walk faster, breathe deeper, and look at the world differently. Because here's the secret the Stoics knew. Holding on to pain and anger doesn't fix the past. It just ruins the present. You can't change what happened, but you can choose whether to carry it forward. So let me ask you, what's in your backpack? What grudges are you still holding on to? What fears or regrets are weighing you down? Take a moment and really think about it, because naming those stones is the first step to putting them down. Picture yourself waking up tomorrow and deciding that the backpack doesn't define you anymore. You don't need to carry everything. You don't need to prove to yourself or anyone else that you can bear the weight. You're allowed to let go. The Stoics didn't promise that life would be easy, but they showed us a path to make it lighter. And it starts here, with you deciding what you're ready to leave behind. Because when you finally drop the stones, you realize something profound. The freedom you were looking for wasn't on top of the mountain. It was in the moment you stopped carrying what wasn't yours to bear. Have you ever stood in the middle of chaos, clinging to the illusion that if you just tried hard enough, you could control everything? Maybe you've obsessed over someone else's decisions, planned your life down to the smallest detail, or tried to force an outcome that refused to bend to your will. The harder you gripped, the more it slipped through your fingers. It's like trying to hold on to sand. The tighter your fist, the faster it escapes. The Stoics had a word for this madness: illusion. Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers, taught a lesson so simple and yet so liberating it can change your life. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. Think about that for a second. Your thoughts, yours to control. Your actions, yours to decide. But the weather? Someone else's opinion. The outcome of a situation, completely beyond your reach. And yet, here we are, exhausting ourselves, trying to control the uncontrollable. You plan the perfect day, and it rains. You pour your heart into a relationship, and they walk away. You do everything right, and life still throws a curveball. So what do? You fight harder, obsess more, and spiral into frustration, as if sheer force of will could bend the universe to your desires. But here's the harsh truth. It can't. The more you fight against what's out of your control, the more it controls you. The Stoics knew that true power lies not in controlling life, but in controlling yourself, your thoughts, your reactions, and your decisions. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm. You have two choices: scream at the wind, demanding it to stop, or put on a coat and keep walking. You can't stop the storm, but you can choose how to face it. That choice is where your power lies. So how do you let go of control? Start by accepting reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Stop trying to rewrite the script of life and start focusing on what you can do. You can't make someone love you, but you can decide how you treat yourself. You can't guarantee success, but you can show up and give it your best. You can't control tomorrow, but you can live fully today. When you finally let go of what you can't control, you'll find something unexpected: peace. That gnawing anxiety that's been living in your chest will begin to fade. You'll stop fighting battles you can't win and start pouring your energy into the things that matter, into yourself, your growth, your choices. Control is an illusion, my friend, and the moment you let go of it, you set yourself free. The world will do what it does. People will act as they please, but you get to decide how you respond. And that, right there, is where your real power begins. Have you ever felt like the past is a shadow that refuses to leave you alone? Like a movie that keeps playing on a loop in your mind, showing scenes of regret, pain, and missed opportunities. Maybe it's the relationship you ruined, the job you didn't take, or the hurtful words you can't unsay. These ghosts of your past don't just live in your memory. They attach themselves to your present, chaining you to a place you no longer belong. The worst part is how easily we allow them to stay. We invite these ghosts in, offer them a seat at our table, and let them whisper doubts into our ears. You're not good enough. You'll mess it up again. You'll never move on. And because they sound so familiar, we listen. We carry them like dead weight, believing that holding on to them somehow makes us stronger or wiser. The Stoics would say otherwise. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic minds, reminded us, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Think about that. The pain you feel when you relive your mistakes isn't real anymore. It's your mind dragging you back to a moment that no longer exists. What happened is over. It's finished. The only place it still has power is in your thoughts, and that's where the ghosts live. So how do you face them? How do you release their grip on your life? First, you must confront them. Sit with your regrets, look them in the eye, and acknowledge what happened. Avoiding the past doesn't make it disappear. It just gives it more power over you. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to? What lessons can I take from this? Stoicism teaches us that everything, even the painful moments, can serve a purpose. Your mistakes, they taught you something. Your heartbreak, it showed you what you value most. Your failures, they prepared you for the future. But the lesson can't serve you if you refuse to let go of the pain. Holding on to it is like refusing to clean out a wound. It festers and spreads. Try this. Write down the ghosts that haunt you. Put them on paper, the things you regret, the people who hurt you, the pain you've been carrying. Then ask yourself, can I change what happened? If the answer is no, then let it go. Burn the paper, tear it up, throw it away. Let it be a physical symbol of you releasing those ghosts. They've stayed too long, and it's time for them to leave. You can't rewrite the past, but you can reclaim the present. Every time you let go of one of those ghosts, you free yourself to live more fully. The Stoics knew this truth. You are not your mistakes, your regrets, or your pain. You are what you choose to do now. The past doesn't have to haunt you unless you let it. Face your ghosts. Thank them for what they've taught you, and then set them free. Because the future you deserve can only begin when you stop living in the past. Have you ever found yourself trapped in a loop of endless thoughts? One worry leads to another, and before you know it, your mind feels like a tangled ball of yarn. You replay conversations, analyze decisions, and imagine scenarios that will probably never happen. It's exhausting, isn't it? Like running a marathon, but in your mind, and no matter how far you go, you're still stuck in the same place. Overthinking is the silent thief of peace. It steals your time, drains your energy, and makes small problems feel 10 times bigger. You lie awake at night, replaying that one awkward comment you made 3 years ago. You obsess over what people think, what might go wrong, or what you should have done differently. The irony, none of it changes anything. Overthinking isn't problem-solving, it's just noise. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he meant is that your thoughts are yours to control. Life throws chaos your way, but the real battle is in your head. The question is, will you let the noise win? So how do you quiet the mind? How do you break free from the chaos of overthinking? Start by focusing only on what matters. The Stoics had a practice called the dichotomy of control. Imagine you're holding 2 buckets. One bucket is for the things you can control, your actions, your words, your mindset. The other is for everything you can't, what other people do, how they feel, the outcome of a situation. Most of us waste time trying to carry both, but the Stoics teach us to let go of the second bucket. You can't control it, so why give it space in your mind? When you catch yourself overthinking, pause and ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, let it go. It's like decluttering your mind, throwing out the useless thoughts that take up space. Another powerful tool is mindfulness. Sit quietly for a moment and focus on your breathing. Inhale, exhale. Notice the thoughts that come and go, but don't hold on to them. Treat your mind like a river. Let the thoughts flow past you instead of trying to catch them. Finally, remind yourself that most of what you worry about never happens. The Stoics believed in preparing for the worst, but not living in fear of it. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. Overthinking is just a judgment, a habit of giving too much weight to thoughts that don't deserve it. Quieting the mind takes practice, but it's worth it. When you learn to silence the noise, you'll find clarity, focus, and peace waiting for you. Instead of drowning in thoughts about what could go wrong, you'll start to notice what's going right. Life becomes simpler, lighter. The chaos fades, and you realize the truth. Your mind can be your greatest ally, but only if you choose to master it. So the next time you catch yourself overthinking, take a deep breath and remember, you don't have to carry every thought that passes through your head. Let the unnecessary ones go. Focus on what matters and watch as the chaos turns to calm. There's a myth we've been told that letting go means giving up, that walking away from something unhealthy makes us weak or selfish. We cling to people, jobs, and habits like a lifeline, believing that our identity, our worth, or our happiness depends on them. But have you noticed what happens when you refuse to let go? You shrink. You suffocate. You feel like you're drowning under the weight of something that's pulling you down. The truth is, letting go isn't failure. It's freedom. It's the act of recognizing that you can't bloom in soil that's no longer fertile. The Stoics understood this. They weren't indifferent or cold-hearted. They were wise enough to know when it was time to detach. Epictetus said, "Attach yourself to what is in your control and detach from what isn't. That is where true strength lies." That strength, my friend, comes from emotional freedom, not indifference. Think of a relationship that drains you. Maybe it's a partner, a friend, or a family member who leaves you feeling smaller after every interaction. You justify it. They need me. I owe them. I can fix this. So you stay. You give. You sacrifice. And in the process, you lose pieces of yourself. Or maybe it's a job that feels like a trap. It pays the bills, but at what cost? Your time, your energy, your dreams, slowly eroded day after day. And then there are habits, those invisible chains we wrap around ourselves, scrolling endlessly on your phone, numbing yourself with distractions, or staying in comfort zones that keep you stagnant. The Stoics teach us that detachment isn't about abandoning life. It's about choosing it, your life, your peace, your growth. Detachment is the art of stepping back, looking at something honestly, and asking yourself, does this serve me? Not in a selfish way, but in a way that honors your value. If something is breaking you instead of building you, it's time to let it go. But how do you let go? First, you acknowledge the truth. Face it head on. That relationship isn't love, it's dependency. That job isn't stability, it's a prison. That habit isn't harmless, it's holding you back. It's painful to admit, but clarity is the first step to freedom. Next, remind yourself that your worth isn't tied to what you hold on to. Detaching doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop allowing something to control you. You can care for someone and still walk away. You can respect a job and still leave it. You can love your habits and still choose to change them. Letting go is not about becoming numb or indifferent. It's about creating space. Space for better relationships. Space for purpose-driven work. Space for habits that heal you instead of harm you. Imagine you're holding on to a rope that's burning your hands. The tighter you grip, the more it hurts. But the moment you let go, the pain starts to fade. That's what detachment feels like. It's scary at first. You don't know what comes next. But the relief is undeniable. To thrive, you must detach from the things that keep you small. Stop holding on to something that's hurting you because you're afraid of the unknown. The unknown is where life begins. As the Stoics remind us, true strength comes from releasing what you can't control and choosing what you can. Your peace, your freedom, your future. Letting go isn't losing, it's winning yourself back. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to pick up other people's problems? Someone vents their frustrations, and suddenly you're carrying their stress. Someone blames you for their failures, and you take on the guilt. You find yourself weighed down by things that were never yours to begin with. It's like agreeing to carry a heavy bag for a stranger on a long, uphill climb. You didn't pack it. You didn't ask for it. But there you are, dragging it along, wondering why you're so tired. The problem is, most of us don't even realize we're doing it. We think we're being kind, responsible, or noble, But what we're really doing is sacrificing our own peace. The Stoics understood the importance of boundaries. They believed in helping others, yes, but not at the cost of losing yourself. Epictetus once said, "If someone tries to give you their burden, don't pick it up. Their problems are their own." Simple, right? But easier said than done. Think about it. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How often do you feel guilty for someone else's mistakes or disappointments? Maybe you've spent years trying to fix a family member who refuses to change. Maybe you've shouldered the emotional weight of a friend who unloads on you daily. Or maybe you're carrying guilt for things you can't control, like the choices of a partner, a boss, or a colleague. It's exhausting, and worse, it's unnecessary. Here's the truth. You're not responsible for other people's baggage. Their choices, their emotions, and their failures belong to them, not you. The Stoics teach us that each person is in control of their own mind and actions, nothing more. You can offer support, but you cannot carry someone else's life on your back. So how do you stop carrying what isn't yours? First, recognize it. When someone dumps their problems on you, pause and ask yourself, is this mine to fix? If it's not, let it go. You can empathize without absorbing. You can care without carrying. Second, set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They're the gates that protect your peace. It's okay to say no. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to prioritize your well-being over someone else's chaos. If someone makes you feel guilty for setting boundaries, that's a reflection of them, not you. Lastly, remember that helping others doesn't mean losing yourself. There's a difference between supporting someone and carrying their load. You can offer a hand, but you can't walk their journey for them. When you carry someone else's baggage, you deny them the opportunity to build their own strength, and you deny yourself the freedom to live your own life. The next time you feel the weight of someone else's problems pressing down on you, stop and ask, is this my burden to carry? If it's not, set it down. Life is hard enough without dragging along baggage that isn't yours. Protect your peace, your energy, and your time. As the Stoics remind us, you only have control over your own thoughts and actions. The rest, leave it to those it belongs to. It's not unkind to let others carry their own weight. It's wise. And it's the only way to travel through life, light and free. Change is like standing at the edge of a cliff, staring into a fog-covered valley. You don't know what's ahead. Maybe it's freedom, maybe it's a fall, but you can feel your feet glued to the ground. That's the fear of the unknown. It sneaks into your mind and whispers, what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose everything? So you stay. You hold on to what's familiar, even if it's uncomfortable, suffocating, or keeping you small. The truth is, this fear isn't about change itself. It's about losing control. We humans crave certainty like air because it makes us feel safe. The job that drains you, at least you know what to expect. The relationship that hurts you, at least it's familiar. We cling to routines, people, and situations because the unknown feels like chaos. But here's what the Stoics understood better than anyone. Change is not the enemy. Your resistance to it is. Epictetus said, it's not things that upset us, but our thoughts about things. The fear of change lives in your thoughts, those stories you tell yourself about what could go wrong. But what if you flip the script? What if, instead of asking, what if I fail, you asked, what if I thrive? Change isn't just risk, it's also possibility. It's the doorway to growth, freedom, and a life you never thought you could have. The Stoics remind us that life is change. To fight it is to fight reality itself. So, how do you conquer this fear? First, accept it. Fear isn't a sign that something's wrong, it's a sign that you're stepping into growth. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you accept that change is inevitable and focus only on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, you strip fear of its power. Second, take small steps. You don't need to leap into the unknown all at once. If the idea of change overwhelms you, break it down. Want to leave a toxic job? Start exploring new skills or sending applications. Afraid to let go of a relationship? Take space for yourself, even if it's just for a day. The fear shrinks with every small action you take. Finally, remind yourself of what staying still will cost you. Staying the same may feel safe now, but it's a slow death. It's waking up every day knowing you're not living to your full potential. The Stoics believed that the worst failure is not trying. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." The fear you feel is a mental illusion, nothing more. When you take the leap, you'll often find the ground is closer than you think. The next time fear paralyzes you, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Then counter it with, what's the best that could happen? Because on the other side of change is the life you've been waiting for. Stop clinging to comfort out of fear. Embrace uncertainty with courage, knowing that growth is always worth the risk. Change may feel like chaos, but the Stoics remind us, it's also where you find your strength. Have you ever said yes when your gut was screaming no? Maybe you agreed to a project that drained you, a night out you didn't want, or a favor that left you resentful. You did it because you didn't want to disappoint anyone, seem selfish, or face conflict. But every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to yourself, your time, your peace, your growth. Saying no is hard because it feels like rejection. Rejection of a request, an opportunity, or even a person. Society teaches us that being agreeable makes us good people, that saying yes means we're reliable, generous, and kind. But here's the irony. When you can't say no, you lose yourself. You become stretched thin, overcommitted, and overwhelmed, doing things that don't align with who you are or what you want. That's not kindness. That's self-abandonment. The Stoics understood that saying no is not selfish, it's essential. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short space of time, but that we waste much of it." Time is the most precious thing you have. You can't buy it, earn it back, or pause it. If you're constantly giving your time to others without intention, you're robbing yourself of what truly matters. To master the art of saying no, you must first clarify your priorities. What do you want your life to look like? What brings you joy, peace, and purpose? When you're clear on what matters most, every decision becomes easier. If something doesn't align with your values or goals, say no without guilt. Your time and energy are finite. You cannot spend them on everyone and everything. Saying no isn't about shutting others out. It's about protecting your boundaries. It's about recognizing that you are not responsible for everyone else's happiness. and you can't pour from an empty cup. The next time someone asks for something that doesn't sit right with you, pause. Instead of immediately saying yes, give yourself time to decide. You don't owe anyone an instant response. If the answer is no, say it with kindness, but firmness. I appreciate the opportunity, but I can't commit to that right now. That's it. You don't need to justify, explain, or apologize. At first, saying no will feel uncomfortable. You might worry about how others will react. But here's the secret. The people who truly respect you will understand. And those who don't, that's their problem, not yours. As the Stoics teach us, you are only in control of your own choices. You can't control how others perceive you. What you can control is whether you honor your boundaries or betray yourself to please someone else. When you learn to say no, you take back your power. You create space for the things and people that truly matter. You free yourself from the chaos of overcommitment and reclaim your life as your own. Remember this: every no to something unimportant is a yes to something essential. It's a yes to your peace, your goals, your happiness. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is not death that a man should fear, but never beginning to live." Don't fear saying no. Fear the life you'll miss out on if you don't. You wake up every day with a voice in your head, a storyteller that never stops talking. Sometimes it tells you tales of triumph, whispering that you are capable, strong, and ready to face the day. But other times, most times, it tells stories of limitation, doubt, and fear. I'm not good enough. I'll never succeed. What's the point of even trying? These are the invisible chains that keep you small, holding you back more than any external obstacle ever could. The truth is, the stories we tell ourselves shape our reality. Epictetus once said, "We are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them." In other words, the events in your life are neutral. It's the narrative you attach to them that creates your suffering or your strength. Picture two people who lose their jobs. One says, "This is a disaster. I'll never find anything better." The other says, "This is an opportunity. I'm free to pursue something more meaningful." Same event, different story, completely different outcome. Your internal narrative is the lens through which you experience life. It's the voice that explains who you are, what you deserve, and what you're capable of. But here's the good news. You are the author of that story. You can rewrite it any time you choose. The Stoics teach us that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control the meaning we give to it. We can choose empowering stories over limiting ones. So, how do you rewrite your narrative? Start by becoming aware of the stories you're already telling yourself. Pay attention to your self-talk. Are you feeding your mind with thoughts of doubt and failure? Are you replaying the same old script that says you'll never be enough? Awareness is the first step to change. Once you recognize the narrative, challenge it. Ask yourself, is this true? Or is it just a story I've been telling myself for so long that I believe it? The Stoics remind us to align our thoughts with reality, not fear or fantasy. If you've failed in the past, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It means you're human. If you've been hurt, it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you've survived. Rewrite the narrative to reflect growth, resilience, and strength. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "I haven't yet, but I will." Instead of saying, "I'm not enough," say, "I'm a work in progress, and I'm growing every day." Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." The stories you tell yourself become your reality. So choose wisely. Don't write yourself as the victim in your life story. Be the hero. Be the one who overcomes the odds, learns from failure, and rises stronger than before. Every day, you have the power to turn the page and begin a new chapter. Your past does not define you. The mistakes, the failures, the struggles, these are not the end of your story. They're the plot twists that make the victory even sweeter. The narrative you tell yourself determines how you live your life. So tell a story that empowers you, one where you're not a prisoner of your fears, but a warrior of your potential. Because in the end, it's not the world that limits you. It's the stories you believe about yourself. Change the story, and you change your life. Imagine you're caught in a rainstorm, soaking wet, with no umbrella in sight. You could curse the sky, shout at the clouds, and resist every drop that hits you. But the rain doesn't care. It falls anyway. Life is the same. It throws storms your way, loss, failure, disappointment. You can fight it, resist it, and scream that it's unfair. But in the end, the storm will pass when it's ready, not when you want it to. Acceptance is the art of embracing reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. The Stoics believed that most of our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our refusal to accept them. Epictetus said, "Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and you will find tranquility." This isn't about giving up or being passive. It's about understanding that resistance to reality only creates pain. You can't control the rain, but you can choose how you experience it. You can stand there angry, or you can dance in it. At its core, acceptance is about surrendering to the present moment. It's understanding that life will unfold as it will, regardless of your opinion about it. Does this mean you shouldn't strive for change? Absolutely not. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, actions, and attitude, and release what we can't. If you lose your job, acceptance means acknowledging the reality of the loss without spiraling into bitterness or blame. You can't change the past, but you can take action now to build a better future. Acceptance also teaches us the beauty of imperfection. Life is not supposed to be flawless, and neither are you. We waste so much energy wishing things were different. If only I had more money, if only that relationship had worked out, if only I had made a different decision. These if-onlys keep us trapped in the past or lost in an imagined future. Acceptance pulls you into the present, where your true power lies. How do you practice acceptance? Start by observing your resistance. When something difficult happens, notice your instinct to fight it. Ask yourself, can I change this? If the answer is no, let it go. Acceptance is not weakness, it's strength. It's the courage to face life as it is, without illusions or denial. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Acceptance brings peace. It's the relief of dropping a heavy load you've been carrying for far too long. It's the moment you stop swimming against the current and let the river carry you forward. This doesn't mean you won't feel pain or disappointment. It means you won't let those emotions consume you. You'll acknowledge them, feel them, and then move on. The next time life throws something unexpected your way, take a deep breath and remind yourself, I can't control what happens, but I can control how I respond. The storm may not stop, but you'll find shelter within yourself. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like everything that happens to you. It means you refuse to let it destroy your peace. When you accept reality, you free yourself from the chains of what should be and open yourself to the beauty of what is. Because when you stop fighting life, you start living it. Imagine you're watching a movie, but this time it's about your life. You're both the director and the audience, and every scene, every dialogue is shaped by the stories you tell yourself. You might be the hero overcoming challenges, or you might be the victim, stuck in a narrative that insists, "I can't change," or "I'm not good enough." What if I told you that these stories, the ones playing on a loop in your mind, are shaping your reality? The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus once said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." In simpler terms, it's not what happens to you that holds you back, but how you interpret it. Think about it. You lose your job, and you can tell yourself, "This is the end. I'm a failure." Or you can say, "This is my opportunity to start over, to find something better." The event is the same, but the story changes everything. The problem is that most of us are stuck in narratives that don't serve us. We hold on to beliefs. "I'm not smart enough. I always mess things up." It's too late to change, that we've repeated for so long. They feel like facts. But they're not facts. They're choices. And just as you chose to tell yourself one story, you can choose to rewrite it. So, how do you do that? The first step is to become aware of the stories running in your mind. Pay attention to your thoughts when you face a setback or challenge. What do you tell yourself? Are these thoughts empowering, or do they keep you stuck? Write them down. Then ask yourself, is this true? Is this thought helping me? More often than not, you'll realize it's just an old script, one you've outgrown. Once you recognize these limiting stories, it's time to rewrite them. Replace "I can't" with "I haven't yet." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm growing, learning, and improving." Every time you catch yourself slipping into an old pattern, interrupt it, challenge it. Remind yourself, "I am the author of this story." Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." If you want to change your life, change the story you're telling yourself. Start seeing obstacles as lessons, failures as growth, and challenges as opportunities to become stronger. The power isn't in the world around you. The power is in your mind. You hold the pen, and it's time to write a story that empowers you to thrive. There's a truth most people resist. Life doesn't always go according to plan. You lose someone you love. Your dreams don't unfold as you hoped. A relationship falls apart. When reality hits you with its unchangeable force, the natural reaction is to fight it, to say, "This isn't fair," or "Why me?" But fighting reality is like trying to stop the rain with your bare hands. It leaves you frustrated, exhausted, and soaked. The Stoics offer us a different path: acceptance. Not resignation, not indifference, but an active, intentional acceptance of life as it is. Epictetus reminds us, "Do not seek for things to happen the way you want them to. Rather, wish that what happens the way it does, and you will be at peace." Acceptance doesn't mean you're okay with suffering or that you stop striving for change. It means you stop resisting what is. If a storm is raging outside, you don't yell at the clouds to stop. You take shelter, you adapt, and you prepare to move forward when the skies clear. Life works the same way. Think of a time when something didn't go your way. Maybe you didn't get the job you wanted, or a plan you worked hard on fell apart. You had two choices. You could resist, fuming over what should have happened, or you could accept it, learn from it, and pivot. When you resist reality, you suffer twice, once from the situation itself, and again from your refusal to accept it. But when you embrace reality, you open yourself to solutions, growth, and peace. Practicing acceptance starts with letting go of the what-ifs and the should-have-beens. Life doesn't owe you perfection. It owes you nothing. And yet, here you are, alive, breathing, capable of creating meaning out of whatever comes your way. When you stop demanding that life be something it's not, you free yourself to experience it as it is. One of the most profound exercises you can do is to repeat this question to yourself during moments of stress. Can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Focus your energy on what you can control: your attitude, your actions, your mindset. Marcus Aurelius practiced this throughout his life. He faced wars, betrayals, and loss, yet his journals reveal a man committed to peace. He wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" Acceptance is not surrendering to failure. It's surrendering to the reality that you can't control everything. When you accept life on its terms, not yours, you stop fighting battles that can't be won. You conserve your energy for what truly matters, living fully, breathing deeply, and showing up for each moment as it is. And in that space, where resistance ends and acceptance begins, you'll find peace. Because peace isn't something you chase. It's what you discover when you stop running from reality. Imagine you're standing in traffic and a driver cuts you off. In that split second, you feel the heat rising in your chest, your jaw clenches, and a string of angry words rushes to your lips. Now pause. What just happened? You didn't choose that anger. It erupted like a reflex, triggered by an event you had no control over. But here's the truth. In that moment, you gave your power away. The Stoics understood that life will always throw chaos your way. People will offend you, challenges will frustrate you, and circumstances will test your patience. But as Epictetus once said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Reacting impulsively is easy. It's our default setting. Responding, on the other hand, requires control, awareness, and a deep understanding that you hold the power to choose your next move. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, faced immense pressures. Wars raged, betrayals loomed, and yet he was known for his ability to remain calm. In his meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His words are a timeless reminder that when chaos surrounds you, your response is the only thing you control. So, how do you respond instead of react? It starts with a pause. In that pause, no matter how short, you take back your power. Before you lash out, breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Does this align with who I want to be? Stoics believed that our emotions are like a storm. If you wait, the storm passes, leaving clarity behind. When someone angers you, they are testing your composure. Don't give them the satisfaction of controlling you. Another technique is to reframe the situation. If someone insults you, instead of taking it personally, consider their words a reflection of them, not you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." By choosing dignity and calm, you win the moment and protect your peace. Practice this daily. The next time you feel your emotions rising, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, what would a wiser version of me do right now? With time, responding thoughtfully becomes second nature. Remember, the goal isn't to suppress emotions, but to master them. Stoicism teaches us that true strength lies in calm, not in chaos. By learning to respond, not react, you become the kind of person who cannot be easily shaken, unbothered, steady, and in control. There's a story about a man who planted a tree in his garden. Every day he watered it, expecting it to grow tall and strong. But one day, a storm tore through the village. The man ran outside, expecting to find his tree uprooted, but instead, he saw its roots had dug deeper into the earth, making it even stronger. The storm hadn't destroyed it, it had forced it to grow. Life works the same way. Adversity, those storms that shake us, those obstacles that seem insurmountable, feels like a punishment at first. We cry out, "Why me?" We look for someone to blame, or we wish the challenge would disappear. But what if the adversity itself is the thing that makes you stronger? The Stoics believed that every obstacle holds a hidden opportunity. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In simpler terms, the very thing that blocks you can teach you, shape you, and guide you toward growth, if you let it. Think about it. If life were always easy, you'd never learn resilience. If you were never tested, you'd never know how strong you are. It's the hard times, the heartbreak, the failures, the setbacks that shape your character. Like a muscle that grows through resistance, your mind and spirit grow through adversity. So, how do you find growth when everything feels like it's falling apart? First, change your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every challenge carries a lesson, even if it's not obvious right away. Maybe it's teaching you patience. Maybe it's showing you the importance of letting go. Maybe it's forcing you to dig deeper, to uncover strength you didn't know you had. Second, embrace discomfort. The Stoics believed that avoiding pain only makes it worse. Instead, face it head-on. When you stop resisting adversity and accept it as part of life, it loses its power over you. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are. You'll never know how much you can endure until you're forced to endure it." Finally, remember that growth is a process. You won't always see the benefits of adversity immediately, but trust that it's shaping you into someone wiser, stronger, and more resilient. Like the roots of that tree, you're digging deeper, becoming unshakable. In every storm, there is an opportunity to grow. The next time life tests you, don't ask for the storm to stop. Ask for the strength to weather it. Because when you come out on the other side, you'll realize the storm didn't break you. It made you. Have you ever walked into a messy room and felt your energy drain instantly? The piles of clothes, scattered papers, and cluttered shelves create chaos, not just in your environment, but in your mind as well. Now, imagine your brain is like that room, cluttered with unfinished thoughts, unresolved emotions, and worries about things you can't control. It's no wonder you feel overwhelmed and stuck. But here's the secret. You can declutter your mind the same way you would clean that room, by letting go of what no longer serves you. The Stoics were masters of minimalism, not just in their physical lives, but in their mental landscapes. Epictetus said, If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid about extraneous matters. Translation: stop filling your mind with noise. Focus only on what matters. When you declutter mentally, you free up space for clarity, purpose, and peace. So, how do you simplify your mind? Start with your thoughts. Most of the time, the things we stress about are unnecessary mental baggage. Worrying about what someone thinks of you, replaying past mistakes, or obsessing over future outcomes. These are distractions that drain your energy and add zero value to your life. Imagine your mind as a shelf. Which thoughts are worth keeping? Which are just dust-collecting clutter? Take a moment to sit down, breathe, and identify the recurring thoughts that serve no purpose. Then, like throwing away old junk, decide to let them go. Simplifying your emotions is another part of mental minimalism. Often we carry anger, resentment, and regret like a backpack full of bricks. The longer we hold on to these emotions, the heavier they feel. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Choose which emotions you allow to take up space. Ask yourself, does this emotion help me grow, or does it hold me back? If it holds you back, it's time to release it. Finally, simplify your commitments. Overcommitting to obligations and saying yes to everything leaves you mentally exhausted and unfocused. The Stoics valued quality over quantity. Fewer possessions, fewer worries, and fewer distractions, so they could focus on living with purpose. Take an inventory of your life. Which activities, relationships, or habits clutter your time and energy? Simplify. Say no to what doesn't align with your values, so you can say yes to what truly matters. Minimalism for your mind isn't about emptying it completely. It's about clearing the clutter to make space for clarity and intention. Just like a clean room brings calm and focus, a simplified mind becomes a place of peace. You'll see your life with sharper eyes, make better decisions, and finally feel lighter. Remember, less mental noise, more mental freedom. That's the power of mental minimalism. Imagine you're on a boat and the waters are rough. The wind howls, waves crash, and you feel like you're being tossed in every direction. Without an anchor, you drift aimlessly, overwhelmed by the storm. But with an anchor, something steady to hold on to, you can weather even the harshest seas. That anchor, my friend, is gratitude. When life gets hard, it's easy to focus on everything that's going wrong. Your mind becomes a spiral of complaints, frustrations, and fears. But the Stoics understood that gratitude is a powerful antidote to despair. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have, grounding you in the present and giving you perspective during life's storms. So how does gratitude work in practice? Start with something small. Look around you. What's one thing you can appreciate right now? Maybe it's the warmth of the sun on your face, the comfort of a roof over your head, or the simple fact that you're breathing. These little acknowledgements might seem insignificant, but they add up. Gratitude is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The Stoics often practiced a daily ritual of gratitude. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reminded himself to appreciate life's gifts, no matter how small. You can do the same. At the start or end of each day, pause and reflect. What am I grateful for today? Write it down if you can. Maybe it's a lesson learned from a difficult situation or the love of someone who supports you. Over time, this simple habit transforms your mindset. But gratitude isn't just about being thankful for the good times. True Stoic gratitude means finding value even in challenges. When life is hard, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Maybe a setback is building your resilience. Maybe a difficult person is teaching you patience. When you reframe struggles as opportunities, you anchor yourself in growth rather than frustration. Gratitude also keeps you resilient. When you're grateful, you're less likely to be shaken by life's ups and downs. It reminds you that no matter how turbulent things feel, there's always something to hold on to, something steady beneath the chaos. Start today. Pause for a moment and find one thing you're grateful for. It doesn't need to be grand or perfect. It just needs to be real. Let that feeling of thankfulness anchor you. Life may not always go as planned, but with gratitude, you'll find peace, strength, and perspective to carry you through any storm. Remember, the calmest minds are often the most thankful. Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. It sits in your chest, tightens your breathing, and clouds your thoughts. The more you hold onto it, the heavier it becomes. What starts as a justified grievance transforms into a chain, binding you to the very pain you want to escape. But here's the truth. Resentment doesn't punish others. It punishes you. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca wrote, "How much better to heal a wrong than avenge it?" Forgiveness, though often misunderstood, is not about condoning what someone did to you or forgetting that it happened. It's about setting yourself free from the emotional weight you carry. Holding on to anger is like gripping a burning coal. It doesn't hurt the person who hurt you. It only burns your hands. But letting go isn't easy, is it? You replay the wrongs done to you like a song on repeat, believing that your anger gives you power or justice. Yet, all it really does is steal your peace. The Stoics remind us that our emotions are within our control. If someone has wronged you, their actions are outside of your hands. What's in your power is how you respond. Marcus Aurelius urged, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Holding on to anger allows someone else's actions to define your life. Forgiveness, on the other hand, reclaims your power. So, how do you start letting go? First, recognize that resentment is a choice. It doesn't feel like it, but it is. You can choose to release it. Think of resentment like a heavy bag you've been dragging behind you. Ask yourself, am I tired of carrying this? Am I ready to let it go? Forgiveness is not about weakness. It's a courageous act of self-liberation. Next, shift your perspective. What can this experience teach you? Maybe it's the power of boundaries, the need for self-respect, or the understanding that not everyone will meet your expectations. Use the pain to grow. The Stoics believed that every challenge contains an opportunity to become wiser, stronger, and freer. When you forgive, you choose growth over bitterness. Finally, remember that forgiveness is for you, not them. You don't need an apology to let go. You don't even need to tell the other person you forgive them. This is an internal process, your process. Write down the weight you're ready to release, and then symbolically let it go. Burn the paper, tear it up, or imagine yourself leaving that burden behind as you walk forward into your life. The freedom you gain when you forgive is unmatched. Resentment ties you to the past, but forgiveness opens the door to peace and clarity. You're not excusing the hurt. You're choosing to heal. In the end, Forgiveness isn't something you give to someone else. It's a gift you give to yourself. Starting over sounds like freedom, but it often feels like standing at the edge of a cliff, uncertain, exposed, and terrified to jump. Reinvention requires bravery because it forces you to step into the unknown, leaving behind the comfort of what's familiar, even if it no longer serves you. Yet, as the Stoics teach, growth and transformation are only possible when we face life's transitions with courage and vulnerability. It's natural to feel fear when you're at the crossroads of change. Maybe you're ending a toxic relationship, quitting a soul-sucking job, or letting go of an identity you've clung to for years. The fear whispers, "What if I fail? What if I'm not strong enough? What if it's too late?" But Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. The only way to move forward is to confront the fear and take action despite it. The first step to starting over is acceptance. Accept where you are right now. It's tempting to dwell on what you've lost or what didn't work out, but the past is unchangeable. The Stoics teach us to focus on the present moment because that's where your power lies. Ask yourself, what can I do today to move toward the life I want? Starting over also demands vulnerability. It's about being honest with yourself. What isn't working? Where are you holding yourself back? It takes courage to admit that you're not where you want to be, but it's also the first step toward change. Reinvention isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Take small, deliberate steps forward. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to be willing to take the first step. And remember this, starting over is not a sign of failure. It's proof that you're brave enough to keep trying. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Life isn't a straight path. It's full of detours, restarts, and second chances. The willingness to begin again is what makes you resilient. Visualize the life you want to create. Who do you want to become? What habits, relationships, or choices align with that vision? Let go of what no longer fits and make space for something new. Reinvention doesn't happen overnight, but with courage, you'll wake up one day and realize that you've built a life that reflects who you truly are. Starting over isn't for the faint of heart, but the reward is worth it. A life lived with intention, authenticity, and freedom. The courage to start over is the courage to reclaim your story and write a new chapter. Don't let fear hold the pen. Pick it up, take a deep breath, and begin. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's not the heroic moments of success or the triumphant cheers at the finish line. Discipline is found in the quiet decisions you make every single day when no one is watching. It's waking up before dawn to work on your dreams, saying no to distractions, and staying focused when everything in you craves comfort. The Stoics understood that discipline is the bridge between potential and achievement, and they mastered it like no other. Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." The truth is, your success in life hinges not on how much time you have, but on how you use it. Discipline is about prioritizing what matters and letting go of everything that doesn't. It's recognizing that every time you choose short-term pleasure, another hour on your phone, skipping that workout, putting off the hard work, you're stealing from your future self. Building unshakable discipline begins with clarity. What do you want? Not just today, not just this year. What kind of person do you want to be in 10 years? If you don't have a clear vision of where you're going, discipline feels pointless. Write down your long-term vision and identify the small daily actions that will get you there. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoics, practiced this relentlessly. Each morning he reflected on his priorities and reminded himself that his time and focus were precious. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Next, embrace discomfort. Discipline requires doing what's hard and uncomfortable in the moment, because you know the reward will come later. The Stoics saw hardship not as punishment, but as an opportunity to strengthen the will. When you push through resistance, whether it's waking up early, saying no to temptation, or working when you don't feel motivated, you train your mind to become stronger. Treat discipline like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the more resilient it becomes. But be patient with yourself. Discipline isn't perfection. You will slip, you will fall, and you will want to give up. That's where the Stoic principle of starting again becomes invaluable. Failure isn't the end. It's just a reminder to return to your path. Each day is a chance to start fresh, to act in alignment with your long-term vision, and to choose what matters most. Remember, the freedom you crave lies on the other side of discipline. It's not about restricting yourself. It's about giving yourself the power to control your life, your habits, and your destiny. Building unshakable discipline is not about grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent choices you make every day. Show up, even when you don't feel like it, and in time, you'll become the master of your life. What does success look like to you? Is it the corner office, the big house, the applause of others? For many, success is defined by external achievements, titles, wealth, or social recognition. But how often do we chase these things, only to find ourselves feeling empty, restless, and unfulfilled? The Stoics believed that true success is not found in outward accomplishments, but in living a life of purpose and alignment. Seneca challenged the traditional view of success when he wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The pursuit of external success often becomes a trap. You achieve one goal, only to feel the need to reach for the next. The problem is not ambition itself, but the lack of meaning behind it. Success without purpose is like a boat without a rudder. You move, but you have no direction. To redefine success, you must start by identifying your purpose. What truly fulfills you? What brings you a sense of meaning and joy? Take a moment to reflect. If you stripped away society's expectations, the pressure to impress others, and the fear of failure, what would you want your life to stand for? The Stoics teach us that purpose is not something you find, it's something you create through your actions. Marcus Aurelius, a man with the weight of an empire on his shoulders, found purpose not in power, but in virtue. He wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." The key to living a meaningful life is aligning your ambitions with your values. Ask yourself, what matters most to me? Is it leaving a legacy, serving others, creating art, or building relationships? Whatever it is, pursue it with intention and measure your success by how well you live in alignment with those values. Redefining success also means letting go of comparison. Too often, we allow other people's achievements to dictate our own. But the Stoics remind us that what others have, do, or think is outside of our control. Your path is yours alone. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Finally, understand that purpose doesn't always feel grand or extraordinary. Sometimes it's found in the quiet moments, showing up for your loved ones, doing your work with integrity, or helping someone in need. Success is not measured by how much you have, but by how much you give of yourself to what truly matters. When you redefine success through purpose, you free yourself from the endless chase for validation and approval. You stop living for others and start living for yourself. The Stoics teach us that a life of meaning is the only life worth living, and it begins when you align your actions with your deepest values. So, let go of society's definition of success and define it for yourself, because the moment you do, you'll realize you've already won. Ambition has been celebrated for centuries. It drives innovation, builds empires, and turns dreams into reality. But there's a dark side to ambition that few people talk about. When it becomes an obsession, it devours peace. You chase goals endlessly, convinced that happiness is waiting on the other side, but it never seems to arrive. The Stoics understood this dilemma better than anyone. Their philosophy teaches us to strive for greatness while holding on to contentment, to seek progress without sacrificing inner peace. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Ambition becomes toxic when it turns into greed, restlessness, or a refusal to be satisfied with what you already have. If you're always looking ahead, obsessing over what you don't have yet, you rob yourself of the present moment. Stoic moderation is about balance. Pursuing your goals, yes, but not at the cost of your happiness or health. To strike this balance, you must learn to separate need from want. Ask yourself, is this ambition born from a true desire to grow, or is it driven by insecurity, comparison, or ego? True ambition feels aligned. It energizes you and gives you purpose. Toxic ambition, on the other hand, leaves you feeling drained, empty, and perpetually dissatisfied. Marcus Aurelius, despite being emperor of Rome, lived simply and focused on what mattered most. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Stoic contentment doesn't mean giving up your dreams. It means being at peace with where you are while working toward where you want to go. It's understanding that fulfillment comes from the journey itself, not just the destination. To practice this balance, learn to pause. Celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Acknowledge the progress you've made instead of fixating on what's left to achieve. Gratitude, as the Stoics teach, is a powerful antidote to discontentment. Each day, take a moment to reflect on what you already have. The fact that you're alive, breathing, and capable of improvement is reason enough to be grateful. Finally, embrace moderation in all things. Ambition without boundaries leads to burnout, broken relationships, and an endless feeling of not enough. Work hard, but rest well. Strive for greatness, but don't lose sight of life's simple joys. The Stoics remind us that true success lies not in having more, but in having enough. When you learn to balance ambition with contentment, you unlock a quiet kind of power. You can chase your dreams without losing yourself. You can live with purpose, but also with peace. This balance, though subtle, will make you unstoppable, because you'll no longer be running from a place of lack. You'll be striving from a place of strength. 2025 is not just another year. It's an opportunity, a blank canvas waiting for you to paint a new vision of yourself. Reinvention doesn't mean becoming someone you're not. It means shedding the layers that no longer serve you. It's about embracing the lessons you've learned, lightening your load, and stepping into a stronger, freer version of yourself. The Stoics believed that change wasn't just possible, it was necessary for growth. The first step to reinventing yourself is deciding who you want to become. Picture yourself at the end of 2025. What kind of person do you see? Are you calmer, healthier, more focused? Do you stand taller, speak with confidence, and live with purpose? You don't have to wait for life to shape you. You have the power to create your own identity. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. What you focus on, you become." To reinvent yourself, you must let go of the old baggage weighing you down. Drop the excuses, the self-doubt, and the bad habits holding you back. If you're clinging to toxic relationships, a job that drains you, or habits that keep you stagnant, it's time to cut them loose. Reinvention requires courage because it demands that you leave behind what's comfortable and familiar. But, as Epictetus taught, progress is not achieved by luck or accident, but by working on yourself daily. This brings us to the importance of Stoic habits. Small, consistent actions will be the foundation of your transformation. Start your days with intention, reflect on your priorities, practice gratitude, and set clear goals. End each day with self-reflection. What did you do well, and where can you improve? Remember, the Stoics didn't believe in perfection, they believed in progress. Each day is a chance to move closer to the person you want to become. Reinvention also means embracing resilience. Life will test you in 2025. Count on it. But every challenge is an opportunity to grow. When adversity strikes, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger? The Stoics saw hardship not as a setback, but as a tool for transformation. Finally, be patient with yourself. Reinvention is not a one-time act. It's a process. There will be days when you stumble, when you question yourself, when progress feels slow. That's normal. The key is to keep going. Trust that every small step matters and every effort is shaping the person you're becoming. 2025 is your chance to start fresh, not by becoming someone new, but by revealing the best version of yourself. Live lighter, free from what holds you back. Live stronger, with habits that align with your purpose. And most importantly, live intentionally, because the life you want won't happen by accident. It will happen when you choose to reinvent yourself, one day at a time. If you made it this far, you've already taken the first step toward transformation. Now let me ask you, are you ready to be the new person you've been waiting for? If so, drop it in the comments. I am a new person, because that's exactly what you're becoming. Lighter, stronger, and free from the chains that held you back. This is your declaration to yourself and to the world. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to this channel. This is your space for growth, wisdom, and transformation. Here, we use the timeless principles of Stoicism to build a life of calm, clarity, and unstoppable strength. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Why? Because every video you miss is another opportunity to grow that you're leaving behind. Don't let it slip away. Let's walk this path together. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, remember, you are not stuck. You are becoming.